Welcome to the Writing Gals, four sweet romance authors talking about writing as we stay up late. Tonight, we are going to be continuing our conversation about book launches. We've received a lot of questions from you guys, and so we're excited to talk more about that. But first, we want to give you an update on what we've all been doing lately. So, Michelle, you want to tell us what you have going on?
Sure. I'm actually launching right now, so it's a great topic for me tonight. Maybe I'll learn something in the middle of this. I just have my Saved by the Rockstar book that went live on Monday, and it's climbing the charts slowly but surely, and that's what we want, right? The slow launch thing. I'm on the edge of breaking under 1,000, so I'm hoping with a few more newsletters over the next couple of days, I'll get under 1,000. I almost started singing I'm on the edge of glory. Better not. I'll spare you guys. But it's been fun. I've been getting some reviews that are nice to hear because I was dealing with anxiety in the book. And so it's good to know that I didn't mess up a potentially tricky topic like that. So that's been good. And digging into Christmas stuff. But it's really good because I was down so far with my sales because of my genre choices I've been making, and so I'm pulling it back up, and I'll have doubled my income from last month, and if I could just maybe double it every month for a while, I'll be in good shape. So
Awesome. Cool. So what about you, Victorine? What have you been doing?
Oh, I'm writing a for love book and I'm having a blast doing it. It is this alien romance and I am in love with my alien character, which is really stupid, but it's been a blast to write it, and I'm mapping out 3 books with it. So I have no idea how long I will stick with my for love book because I want to actually be putting out other for money books in between writing it. So we'll see how long I'm involved in just completely that by itself. But that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm having a blast.
And I'm having a blast listening to it. It's awesome. What about you, Amy? What are you doing?
Well, I just launched a book as well last Sunday. Was it that the day? So having fun doing that. It's the 3rd book in my The Rules of Love series. So rule number 3, you can't kiss your best friend. And one nice thing about releasing YA is that they just kind of go up on their own. Like I really just released it and it just climbed the charts all on its own. I think it's because rule number 1's still selling as well as it is. So it's just kind of the read through. I also waited an extra week. Well, wasn't like on purpose, like it wasn't ready. So I didn't release it as close. And I think that helped my book get higher. But I did do a promo yesterday and totally ruined it. So it still did really well and it still made me money, but it didn't get as high as I wanted it to. And it was just kind of like a moment where I just wanted to just bang my head on the wall because I was like, I can't believe I just messed this up. I mean, how I checked my countdown, my Kindle countdown. So if you're not in our Facebook group, you don't know I set it for Pacific time. I don't even know. Okay, so I thought Pacific was on the other side. So I am geography challenged. So I was like, well, of course, they would start it on the one that's going to start the soonest, right? No, that's not Pacific time. Pacific time is California time. So, I mean, that's like way in the future or in the past or however you want to look at it. So I set my time for that day. And then I set it just to run for 1 hour. So it was like, I was like, yay, it changed to 99 cents. And then I was like, wait a minute. It says it's ending in 58 minutes. This is not right. And I called Amazon, this poor Amazon lady. I was like, no, you have to change it. There's like, you're Amazon. And she was like, I'm sorry. I totally kind of yelled at her. So anyways, long story short, it was just not what I wanted it to be, but it still did decent. So I'm happy. But then also on a Kindle countdown, it says that you can't change your price again for like 3 weeks. So be forewarned that happens. I didn't know that happened either. So anyways, so after that is done. So it's launched, it's released. There's nothing I can do except just let it be what it is. And then I'm writing Marrying a Spy right now and trying really hard to like it because all I want to do is write Christmas books because everybody's starting to write Christmas books. But I have to write this one because it needs to be published by the 31st of October. So I'm just pushing my way through it. So I'm almost 20,000 words into it and just being like, I should just make this a novella because then it'd be done in 10,000 words. Might be a little too short for what I'm trying to get across. But, you know, maybe I'll just be like, and they all died. The end. Yeah. Hate me all you want, but I'm over with this story. Or make it serial. So be like, and then we're done for this scene. So stay tuned for next time. I don't know. Anyways, that's where I'm at right now. Oh, awesome. And then I hit a huge milestone for being an author. I became a 6-figure author in my first year of writing, which was one of my major goals. So I'm pretty excited to have hit that goal this year. So yay!
That's fantastic.
That is awesome. Cool. So for me, I finally finished my book that I've been working on for forever. It's called My Second Chance, and I sent it to my beta readers and ARC readers, and thankfully they've all really liked it, which has been a relief because it was kind of scary writing a book about a pregnant teen and calling it a clean romance. So yeah, so I sent that to my editor last week, and hopefully I will have that published within the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever. Started working on my next book in that series, which is a Christmas book called My Mistletoe Mix-Up, which is fun. And then I also have been working on getting the first 4 books of my Ridgewater High series into audio book. I had Tantor contact my old agent had contacted them, and then they finally got back to her. And so we're working on getting those audio books going. And so that's been exciting because I want to hear my books read to me. That'll be awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. So and then real quick, we just wanted to kind of as you know, we've been talking about this writing conference that everyone was going to, and they're back from it now, and we want to find out what the highlights were from each of these ladies from the conference that they went to last week.
I'm going first, and no one can steal mine. I loved meeting all of our Writing Gal followers, like everybody who gets to watch us, as they kept saying, we see you, and now you get to see us. And that's exactly what the best part of the conference was. For me, was getting to see some old friends, but making so many new in-person friendships with some of our Writing Gals. So thank you for coming to our conference, or to the conference, and seeing us, because that was the best ever. It was, oh, by the way, it was not trying to edit and publish a book during a conference. That was not the highlight. Don't do that. I'm never doing it again. So.
I agree with Michelle. That was awesome getting to meet other people from our group. So if you can possibly make it to one of the other conferences we're going to be at, we would love to meet you. We're going to be in Dallas in February, very end of February, at Lone Star Inc. Conference. Michelle and I will be there, and Amy maybe. And so we're super excited about that. And all 4 of us will be in Nebraska for April's conference for the Nebraska Writers Guild. We'll have a 1-day retreat and then a 2-day conference. And so come to that. We'll put details up on our Facebook group, The Writing Gals. So join our Facebook group and come to our conferences. And the highlight for me for this conference was getting to sit in on Michelle's class and Amy's class, and they just did a fantastic job with their classes. And I'm super excited because some of those classes they taught, I get to steal them for the Nebraska Writers Guild Conference in April. So don't miss it. It's going to be awesome.
Now I get to go last. Yay. I would say my highlight is one was teaching. I've never taught at a conference before, but as we know from the Writing Gals, I have a lot I have to talk about. So it was really fun. And I wasn't with a loss for words for some of them. So that was really fun. And just the networking. And I think my favorite part was sitting down with 2 of the Writing Gals listeners, and we just chatted with them, and we went to dinner with them, And we were like, what do you guys want to know? What can we tell you? And we're like, all right, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish by the next time you see us? And it was interesting. They all had monetary goals, which are awesome. But we also reminded them, you know, you can't really control how much money you make. You can control how much you put out. So we said, okay, that's good monetary goals, but let's talk about what can you control, and you can control the amount of books you're putting out. So they each gave us their book goals. So we will definitely be checking in with them. And that was just really fun. It was just really relaxed and wasn't stressful. And it was just the 5 of us. So I'm seriously thinking we need to like do a Writing Gals meetup on the Writing Excuses cruise, because I am not savvy enough to set up a cruise myself, but I kind of like the idea of kind of hijacking another one. So we can just be like, we'll all just go on this cruise, but we'll kind of all just stay in this little glom of people. So I'm seriously thinking this is something that we need to do, because writing and cruising just sounds so cohesive. So maybe we'll come up with something and be like, come with us, and it'll be really fun. But I guess I have to get the Writing Gals to all agree to go for a week on a cruise.
I'm there. You don't have to. You don't have to.
We have to get our husbands and our kids to agree too.
Yeah,
and I need to get something to help with seasickness.
In the meantime, we are hijacking conferences. It's kind of funny.
Kind of, yeah.
Except for the Nebraska Writers Guild, which is official, we are kind of hijacking other conferences.
like this parasite, be like, come see us, we're here.
We're all sending in our class proposals, and then when they ask us to be presenters, we're like, surprise, now's the Writing Gals conference.
Someday we'll be cool enough to have our own conference, but for now we're just gonna hijack all these other ones.
That's okay. I don't think they care as long as we bring people to the conference with us. So
yeah,
register to come to these conferences so we don't get kicked out, people.
Anyways, that was mine.
Awesome. Sounds like I missed a really good one. Darn it. Cool. So now we will just get into our questions where we left off 2 weeks ago. And so we had one from Hannah, and she asked, what is the key to holding a rank under 2,000 for a long period of time like Amy does? Like, for example, getting to 360 bestseller rank in the store on a launch, but the book falls over 2 weeks to the 8,000 bestseller rank. How do you, I guess, avoid such a big drop?
I feel like Amy should be answering this question, but I will say, well, because they asked specifically, like, how does Amy do it? So I noticed a couple of things. I still think that the slow launch has a lot of merit to it, because my Regency book did really well out of the gates, and I got to like 700 and something within like 2 days or something, but it fell pretty quickly. And I think for whatever reason, it just had a little bit of its own little spike, and then it fell down kind of drastically. And it's stuck like around 3,000 to 4,000 so far. I think we're into week 4 now, and it's still in the 4,000s, which is, pretty good. It's at number 35 in new releases for Clean and Wholesome, which is still really good, I feel like. But with the slow launch, I'm hoping to maintain a lower rank for longer. So we'll see how that does. But I think the best thing you can do is to keep newsletters going out for a longer period of time. Because I think what happens is if you're depending entirely on your rank and Amazon's algorithms to keep you floating, then it's just not going to happen. You need to keep bringing as many fresh faces onto your book page as you can. And newsletter swaps is one of the best ways to do that. So I think I've got them going out all the way through. So if I launch on the 22nd or 23rd, and I've got them all the way out, newsletter swaps all the way out to the second week of October. So I'm hoping to keep a lot of that, just kind of extra help buoyancy-wise to keep my book up.
I agree with Michelle. I think the key to holding a rank steady is showing Amazon that you're not just a one-day spike, right? That you are able to maintain a nice rank over time, and that your sales are kind of spread out over time. And definitely make sure you are swapping with people, other authors who were writing the exact same thing you're writing. Because if you go into a group that's really diverse and say, well, anybody want to swap with me, and you're getting all these other genre writers swapping with you, that can really mess you up. Amazon gets confused as to who to market to if different types of people are buying your book. So what you want to do is make sure that your audience is staying pure to what your audience is. Does that make sense?
I'll second everything that they have said. I want to make a point that I did not start out hitting 360 in my first book. Actually, the first book I ever put out, I hit 900, and that was my best rank. My second and my third book, both which I had pre-orders on, I never even broke the 1,000 rank. I stayed pretty steady in the thousands for a while, but then I fell again, and it wasn't until I was writing in my married series that I really started hitting much bigger ranks. So I think this kind of goes along with, I want to make a certain amount of money each month. That's not something you can control. We can't control our bestseller rank. If you release a book the same day a bunch of trad people put out books, your book's just not going to get that high in rank. And you may be selling like crazy, but your rank is going to feel like low because a lot of other books are selling just as crazy. So a rank is really just telling you where you are in terms of how many you're selling compared to other people around you. And sometimes you're going to put a book out, like I put out my Finding Love with the Billionaire the same time Michelle put out her Christmas book, and my book just didn't do as well because it's just the wrong time, or it was the wrong time of year. Michelle did amazing for her Christmas book, and she did it. She was like, guys, my rank is just going and going, and there's not much I'm doing about it. So sometimes it just hits the market right at the right time where it's just going to go up. So I think always keeping in mind that I did everything I possibly could. If you're writing billionaires right now, maybe pick a different trope right in there, because there is a ton of billionaire books out. So you're going to need to either really showcase yourself above everybody else. You need to make sure your cover's on point, your blurb's on point, your title's on point, or pick a non-as competitive genre. And Victorine talked about this in her class, the Six-Figure Indie Author. She talked about looking at K-lytics, finding underserved markets that there are tons of people wanting it, but there's nobody writing in it. Pick that. That's how I got so high. And my Marrying a Prince probably stayed the highest longest for a while. But I mean, I released during a time where Harry, is that his name, got married. So people were thinking Prince things. This is all the gospel according to Amy. Like, I have no proof that any of this is true. I'm just trying so hard to pull things out of the air and say, this is why it stuck, or this is why it stuck, or this is why it stuck. But I just know if you always have something in your back pocket, you always have your next book available, then eventually you're going to hit there. As long as the books you're writing are quality books, people are wanting, you have a hungry market of people wanting to read. Your market's only going to grow bigger and bigger every time you put a book out. And eventually you will get that high and you'll stay that high. Now, YA is a whole nother place. And I love YA because I don't have to do so much work in there because I don't think it's as competitive. But don't everybody go write YA. Because Judy's like, stop talking about it, Amy.
But you don't want to write YA. It is hard.
We kicked ourselves in the foot with the billionaire thing. So yes. we're going to we're not telling anybody our where we're going, our direction anymore.
But it's its own. You have to write it well. If you're going to keep writing books in it, you have to write it well. You can try and write YA, but there's a certain voice, things people are looking for, markets you need to hit. So I'm just.
Yeah. And YA readers are pickier too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So just find something that you love and write in that. And if it's underserved, write in that part. You know what I mean? Or just be like, you know what? 360 for your book launch is amazing. And 8,000 is still great after a month. So don't define yourself just on this one book. but just keep, doing what you can, have ads, advertise, newsletter swap, and write your next book. And every book you have in a year, you're going to be like, Psh, I'm at 500 and I'm stuck here for a while and I love it. So just know it's only going to get better the more you're writing and putting out. That was a very long, drawn out. I'm very long-winded tonight, apparently.
Yeah, I agree with all that you guys said. Those were great. And then also, you can possibly try AMS ads or two and just see how those go, because those can help if you figure them out right. I didn't do so great with AMS on my billionaire book because I didn't know, I guess, what I was doing. So, yeah, but yeah, definitely the more you publish, the better it will and stickier it will get. And then and then I do know that, sometimes the books just don't. And so maybe if you're doing everything you can, maybe you might need to look at your writing as well, just to see, because maybe readers will take a chance on the first book. And then if your other books don't do as well, maybe just look at your writing and maybe get it critiqued or find other people to look at it just to make sure that that is doing good. Because if you're putting out lots of books and they're not doing so great, there could be other reasons. So yeah. So next question is from Rachel. Ideas you have for launching from scratch? For example, a new small pen name with no following. Would you do things differently than you would for an established name? And also, do you pre-order as part of your launch strategy, or would you avoid that because it dings your rank? So if I was doing a new name, I would definitely do the slow launch strategy and have lots of newsletter swaps.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I would do differently starting out than I did for myself is I would write a short story or a novella in my genre, and I would give it away free. And I would give it away to as many people as I could and try and get a following, and maybe even, start up a newsletter and try and get people to sign up to my newsletter. And that would be the precursor for me to going into selling books, because it's really difficult to sell something if you don't have people waiting for it. And our books are our platform. And so I would start with a small platform and try and get people interested in what I'm writing.
I would say pre-orders. I did a pre-order for my first book and my pen name right out of the gate, but I only did it for a week. And pre-orders can be good. I mean, I will come back next month when I have had my one pre-order on for 3 months to kind of talk about how that affected my rank throughout the release strategy, because I've never done a pre-order for this long. So I think it can do well for you when you're starting out, because if you think about a slow launch, I mean, you could take those pre-order days as your slow launch. What I did was I just put a Facebook ad on it. I got 55 pre-orders at 99 cents. I mean, I definitely paid for those. It wasn't really money I saw back, but it was that slow build up. So I would say you could do a pre-order. It probably wouldn't hurt you if you do it for a week or two. But if I was to do a pre-order, I would just put it up and I wouldn't tell anybody. Don't tell your mom or your grandma or anybody like that. Maybe find, we have a trusted, we know each other's also bots. So sometimes when we first put our book out and we're not getting any sales, we'd be like, guys, go buy my book. But we know each other's, we know that's what we buy. So our also bots are going to be good. Now, don't go ask people. This should be friends only. Don't go to, Facebook groups and ask them to buy your books, because that's not cool. So don't do that. But that's probably what I would say. And then just that slow launch that we were talking about. And honestly, if your book is on point for trope, it's on point for title and cover and blurb. The whole point we write to market is so we don't have to market so hard. And that book will show up and it will kind of do its own thing on its own, but but you kind of do have to help it along. but the goal is to get it up there enough so that now it kind of sells itself. That's the goal of it. So
I had my Regency on pre-order for 2 weeks, and it's the first time I've done a pre-order that was, I don't know, slightly successful, but I still wish I'd managed it better because we told the followers for our Regency house party that the books were all on pre-order, and so I got a spike for a day or two of pre-orders, and my rank went up, and then that's the only people that really we got a few other pre-orders, but my rank fell again before launch day, and I'm still not sure how pre-order rank play into where you launch at necessarily, but according to what Amazon would have seen, I did have a spike and then a fall. So I don't think that worked to my benefit.
maybe something you guys could have done was segregate it and then every day sent one out, slowly increasing the number of people you sent it out to.
Well, and I think I wish I would have told our followers that my pre-order was live, like closer to launch instead of toward the beginning of the pre-order, because then I would have basically done a slow launch in my pre-order into the final launch. So
because that's if you think about it, a lot of the days we have, we're just sitting on it. And, and Amazon builds its page, and then you get your sponsored product ads and stuff. You probably wouldn't get as much as the also bots because people don't normally buy as much off of pre-order. They're kind of more of a now, and authors don't really like to share pre-orders in their newsletter. They want to give their readers, like, they're just not going to have as much click and all that stuff. So,
but if you have a fan base, you have a newsletter list, we had Facebook group, and you have all those people that you can share your pre-order to. It's not like telling them 2 weeks in advance or a month ahead of time is going to get you like immediate money, because you're not going to get those sales until the book drops live anyway. So I almost feel like managing when you're communicating about your pre-orders might have some benefits to it, if that makes sense. So pre-orders are another monster as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to just address the whole pre-order thing, because there's a little bit of confusion out there whether you get penalized in rank for your pre-order. And basically how pre-orders work is it is up for sale on Amazon, and as the sales come in during your pre-order period, Amazon adjusts your rank according to how many you're selling during that period. So on your day that it launches and becomes live on Amazon, you don't get that. Let's say 100 people over your pre-order ordered it. You don't get the rank of 100 sales on the day of the launch. You get the rank of whatever you're selling on that particular day. And so those, it's not like you're penalized for having a pre-order, but you don't get a huge spike in rank, which actually may help you because through a slow launch, you don't want that big spike and then a drop off. You want your rank to slowly rise over time. And so what I found with the pre-orders, and the reason I don't like them on my books, is because if I do a pre-order for, let's say, a whole month, I don't get a lot of that rise in rank. A lot of times it'll just sit there at a really low rank and maybe even drop because people are waiting for it to go live. And so Amazon doesn't see that excitement of this building up of sales over time through that pre-order. And so I feel like my launches do better when I don't have a pre-order up.
Yeah. See, and my last pre-order launch was my best one so far. So I'm like, I don't know. It might just be YA is different, and it was only like a month. So this next one that I'm doing it's a 3-month one. So we'll see how I feel about them after that.
Well, and I think you and I both have one in series. So we get what pre-orders for me work in a longer scale if you have it in the link of the back of your book to push you. I really think you'll get a lot more pre-orders if you have it like where it's continuous. So it's like a trilogy. They have to read book 2 to know what's going on. But I think even just putting it in the back of my second book, I stayed pretty consistent for my third YA book of where my rank was. It kind of just stuck out in the teens, and it didn't really go down because the books were just selling themselves. Granted, it also was not very long. It was only a month that I had that pre-order as well. And then that's what helped it. So it kind of gave me that extra time to hang out here and that kind of come up. My married book's not the same. My married book's kind of going like this, and then it goes down, and then it comes back up, and then it goes down and comes back up. So I'm very interested to see how that's going to affect it once I finally launch it and it goes back up again. But we also are putting them up for $2.99. I think you would get a lot more people clicking all the way through if it was 99 cents. So, I mean, this is why we say play around, try things out, see what works, see what doesn't work, and go from there. But then me and Judy I'll first learn from Judy. Not like I can change it, but then I'll know what to expect when she launches her 3-month pre-order. I don't know. How's your pre-order sticking? Is it pretty even or?
Yeah, mine has stayed pretty even the whole time. Like it'll go up maybe a little bit some days and a little bit, but it hasn't like gone below 50,000 in the store. It stays around there. Some days it'll get up to like 20,000, but
yeah. So you're selling a couple a day.
Yeah.
3 a day. Yeah.
So before we move on, I would like to say that if your first book doesn't go very well, or your first launch doesn't go very well, just remember that's one book and you have like a whole career and you've got plenty of time to keep experimenting and keep learning. And like Amy said, it'll grow every time if you're doing all the right things, like writing to market, putting a good cover on it, improving your craft, building your platform or subscriber list, all those things. So don't get too bummed out if your first book doesn't just jump to the top of the bestseller list.
Yeah. Yeah, mine have all gotten better as time has with each book. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. And if I was not planning to continue to publish new books, I wouldn't be nearly as likely to be experimenting with these new things. So, but since I do plan to do this for a long time, I'm okay with experimenting and finding what works best for me. So we had a question from Rachel about pre-order launch strategies. We've kind of been talking about that, but are there any more things you would like to mention?
I think one more thing you could do, and this is something you utilize, Judy, is if you are about to relaunch, and I might actually do this myself, if you're going to relaunch or if you're going to finally launch a pre-order and it's kind of been lagging, I mean, set a free day on one of your other books, especially if it's in a series. Set a free day, maybe a couple days before your book actually launches so people can actually read through it. And then you'll see a spike in sales as people are moving through. So that could be a way to help grow your rank. Do not change your price during your pre-order because you will lose. See, I have so much wisdom to give you because of all the money that I have lost from all the failures that I have done. Do not change your price from $2.99 to 99 cents because all the pre-orders will go back to 99 cents. So don't do that, but maybe put a book on for free and then like a week before you launch to just kind of help boost that before you launch and start again. But if you're in KU, you have to remember people in KU aren't going to buy your book. So if they've been waiting for your book, it was like a day or two after launching my book that Amazon sent out an email saying, this is a book you were interested in from an author and it's finally gone live. And I got a lot of people picking it up from KU that way. So remember, the people buying your book, I mean, 2 or 3 a day is pretty much what you sell normally in books. And then you're going to get all those KU boosts if you're in KU. If you're not in KU, I really don't know how to help you because I don't know anything about anything else. So that's what I think.
Very good. Victorine, do you have anything to add? You're not muted.
I was just going to say, I am going to teach a class on launch strategies, and I'm basically going to teach 3 main different ones. The one is the slow release method where you're building over time and you're having a little bit of advertising every day for a couple of weeks, right? And then the second one, the what I like to call BookBub launch is where you put all of your advertising on one day, make it 99 cents, and just try to get as high in the charts as you can on that one day. And if you have a lot of muscle behind your advertising on that day, that can really boost you way high. And as we saw with Amy's book, it can sometimes keep you way high in the ranks for a while after that. And then I would say the third one would be do the pre-order, especially if you're doing maybe some rapid releases and you have a series going on and you're doing one book a month. Launch a book, and in the back of that book have the link to the pre-order to the next one. And after a month, your next one launches, but have a pre-order for the next one. And so I'm going to be talking about all of those at the conference coming up. I'm doing at the Nebraska Writers Guild conference in October.
Awesome. And then also for more, information on pre-order launch strategies, we did do a video a while back with Elena Johnson. And so that had a lot of great information if you want to learn more. So look for that in our videos. Okay, so we have a question from Tammy. And she asks, is there anyone who can give guidance to people like me who can't produce a book every month? I'm pushing to get a book out every 4 months. Surely there is a way to maximize profit without churning out a new book every month. Well, that's me. I don't do a book every month. I'm pretending this month that I can do that, but we'll see if that actually happens. Just do it as often as you can, and I don't know, keep doing it, because if you can't do it every month, then what else are you going to do? So, and a way that I have been able to keep mine high is they are somewhat linked. And so when people do buy one of them, they hear about these other characters and they get interested in finding out their story. So I have pretty good read through. But yeah, just do the best you can. And the longer you do it, the more books you'll have in your backlog, and the better that your sales will do. So yeah, you can still make a lot of money. Like when I had one book out, I made like maybe $2,000 in a month. And then now that I have 5 books out, my best month has been $9,000. So you can still do it without doing a book every month. I haven't made 20,000 yet, but maybe I'll get there.
So I was going to say you can consider writing shorter. I don't know what you're considering to be, sorry, a book, but we know a lot of authors who are having great success with 30,000 word books and running in a series. So that can help you get, if you can get your word count down, obviously you can get it out faster. Something I'm trying out with my new series right now is taking it down to 30,000. And it's a little bit tough when I'm not seeing as many pages read per KU borrow. But I'm hoping that I'll make up for that as I am able to get books out faster. Another thing is that you do get faster over time if you work on your efficiency as a writer. So that's something that I pay attention to, is what can I do next time to cut out some of these things that made this process longer. And for me, a lot of that is learning to not make the same mistakes in the rough draft so that I don't spend as much time with major edits. That saves me a lot of time. And another one is trying to get your flow, your workflow organized so that you can be drafting one while another book is off to your editor. So it's not like a draft for a really long time, edit for a really long time, format for a really long time, work on the launch. If you can learn to manage your workflow so that you can be always in different stages of different projects, then it can help you to be able to become more consistent and efficient in getting stuff out.
Excellent. The only other thing I wanted to say is if you are releasing every 3 or 4 months, don't be afraid to do like a free promo on one of your backlist books during your launch of your newest book, and advertise that new book in the back of whatever book you're making free and promoting, because that can buoy everything up for you too.
And then I'll just put a plug in. What I would do is, like, even if I have books that I put out, I put a book a month out, but my book that I put out this month does not boost my Billionaire series. Like, when you put a book out in a new series, it really doesn't affect the previous series as much as it does putting in your current series. So what I have to do is just advertise and do free days, like Victorine said, and then I try to promote it as much as I can in my current books that are selling. But I think if you can't do, a more consistent, but really a book every 4 months, it's pretty decent to get out. So, I mean, it took me so long to write previous books to get to this point. And it's kind of like a muscle. You learn how to work it. You force yourself, because really a lot of the stuff that keeps you from sitting down and writing is your own brain and where you are and forcing yourself into that mindset. But sometimes, like, if you have a full-time job, that's hard to do. So just putting on advertising and then just keep doing it. Like Judy said, and each one will help build the next one, So.
Yeah, lots of great advice there. Okay, so we have a question from Jocelyn, and she asks, have any of you used BookBub's new release promo yet for your launch? I haven't. I don't even know what it is.
I haven't. They just came out with it, and I have not used it. It seemed kind of pricey, so I'm waiting to see what everybody else says first.
Why don't you tell us what it is? Because I don't even know what it is.
Well, it's this brand new thing they came out with, and basically you're paying them to advertise your new launch, because all of the BookBub features, they don't want new books on the ones that work really well. They're BookBub feature ones that are, lower priced or free. But this is a brand new thing they're bringing out where you can advertise a brand new book. But anytime anybody comes out with something brand new, I always sit back and kind of wait and keep an ear out in all the groups where all the authors hang out and see what everybody's talking about. If they, spent $200 on the promo and it flopped for them, then I know, well, maybe I'm going to wait even longer to see if they improve their service or whatever. When BookBub ads down at the bottom of their features first came out, they were not performing well for authors. A lot of authors said they lost money doing that. Now I'm hearing more and more people are using them and having success. So I think BookBub improved their service because people were talking and saying, this isn't working well for me. And so, yeah, I'm kind of the person to say, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to wait and see what everybody else has as far as success or not success on something like that.
So we're all Victorine's guinea pigs.
Yep, I'm waiting.
I will say one thing that I'm doing that is not like the new release promotion you can pay for, but I am starting to see the value in encouraging people to follow me on BookBub. And so just in general, it's a good place to start sending your readers, because I think they have a really good turnover rate. I think people do buy books from BookBub however they get there. And I love getting emails where I see that my followers are recommending my book to all of their followers. So it's not just like my few followers that I have, because I just started trying to get people over there, but it's all of their followers. So when they recommend my book, it goes out to everybody that's following them. So and BookBub does send out new release alerts to your followers, of course, which you don't have to pay for or schedule or anything. I mean, do they do it all the time, or are you just lucky if you get one? I don't know.
I think they send them as long as you put them on your website.
On your profile page. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
if you add it, they should send it out. I had one author friend who hers did not go out, and she contacted them and they said, sorry, it's too late. So you're kind of at their mercy. It's not your own newsletter.
right.
So, but for the most part, they've been really good at sending them out for me.
I think it's just one more place because they say on average people need to see your book 7 times or something like that before they buy it. I think a lot of times if someone is on the fence about buying it, but they see it in multiple different places, eventually you'll get them to that place where you like get them to click. So it's just one more avenue to present your book to your people.
Yep. Very good. Okay, we have one more question on what I have, and then we'll see if we have any on the live feed. So this question is from Maria, and she asks, what social media strategies seem to work best? Email blasts, newsletter announcements, newsletter swaps, Twitter and or Facebook blasts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram ads, features on other pages, author or blogger, BookBub ads, or etc.
If I post on my author page, that I've got a new release, I always try and share it from my author page to my personal timeline because I don't mind sharing my books with my friends. They're friends with an author and they're just gonna have to get used to it. But the thing is that, and then if people share from there, then it automatically boosts my author page. And a lot of people are telling me that they have had decent success with actually boosting a Facebook post. And it's not that expensive, so I might be trying it. But I don't think in general you get a whole lot of lift from any social media that you do. You might get a little bit from Twitter, especially if you can use hashtags for different groups that like to retweet for people. Like Clean Indie Reads is a good group that has a lot of people who like to retweet for people. And I have seen some sales from that. I've seen Instagram give you some visibility, but it's a difficult one to convert into sales because they don't have the easy click links available on Instagram. So I wouldn't say that one is super great for getting, sales. Just visibility. And, I really think that social media is limiting, and that's why we kind of say on here a lot of times, use it to interact with your fans and to let them know what you've got going on. And if they're looking for you, be there for them. But it's not necessarily a great sales platform.
Yeah, mostly I think the newsletter swaps are the best place to go.
Your own newsletter should be the place where you get the most sales, right? Because these are the people that subscribe to you and they like your work. But swapping with other authors that write the same genre as you do, that definitely is going to help as well, because those are other people that are looking for that type of book. And so that's where I've had the most luck with my launches.
I would just point out, if you're going to do a Facebook blast or have people share your Facebook thing, make sure that you create it in your author page on Facebook and then have people share the actual link, because Facebook likes comments and shares and likes and loves and all those things. So the more, like, you're going to have followers on your Facebook page, which if you want to do any Facebook ads or anything, you have to have a Facebook page. In the past, Facebook page kind of went down in terms of, like, all of a sudden Amazon's like, or Facebook's like, wait a minute, everybody's selling through this. We want we want some of this, money. And so then they made it harder for people to advertise people on their page. I think they have since realized that kind of tanked the pages and people weren't really using them anymore. And so I think there's been like a new rollout on how Facebook is changing pages and how they're viewed. But if you have 500 followers on your Facebook page, Facebook's not going to show them to everybody. They're going to say, boost this, pay us, or prove to us that people actually want to see that. And the way you prove it is by having people share it. So if you get that link, so what you do is you'll click, when you look at your post, you click on the timestamp, and then it'll open it up, and then you copy and paste that URL link, and that's a shareable link. So then you go into all these other newsletter swaps or people who are similar in your genre, and you write, or you put it up and you say, share my post. So they'll share the post, and that will help boost you onto your page. And so Facebook will start showing it more to people because they say, oh, this is relevant. People like this. People are sharing, commenting. So I will continue to share. So if you're going to use the Facebook, do it that way. Do I think it gets you sales? Probably not, but it will get you a lot of Facebook visibility, and it will get you a lot of more. You'll get more Facebook page likes, because once you hit 1,000 Facebook page likes, then you can actually do a group of like funneled down. What am I thinking? Victorine, help me. A lookalike audience. There we go. You can create a lookalike audience, which can help you target people better on your Facebook ads. But it doesn't take very long. Just make a fun little graphic on Canva, stick it up, put your link so you know, and then shoot it out into the world. And, you know, like we said, 7 times someone has to see your book if they don't know who you are already. Most of the time, if people see my book, they know, oh, I like her books, I will do it. But if they don't know who you are 7 times, this is just another opportunity for them to see you. But newsletter swaps above and beyond, that's the best. But if you're going to do Facebook, that's what I would say. Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, I don't know anything about that. I don't think it does anything, but it could be because I don't know how to work it or use it. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
But obviously you're doing pretty good without knowing that. So newsletter swaps are where it's at.
Yes, definitely. And then AMS ads and Facebook ads, I think, are the best. So, and I don't really think you need to do big Facebook group like parties. You don't really. I really don't even like do like any kind of newsletter announcements. Sometimes if I'm like, I don't really know what to talk to my newsletter about, so I'm just going to put my next cover in there and reveal it to them. But I don't ever make it to be a super, super big deal. So newsletter is definitely where it's at.
Cool. So Victorine, were there any questions on the live feed?
Yes, we had a few. All right, Steve asked, I heard something about making sure you get an ISBN number on the back of your book. Is this a copyright thing? Do you gals do this before publishing and launching? So do you want to explain ISBNs?
Oh, sorry, you kind of cut out for me. So I'm going to answer what I thought. My internet's having fun tonight. So ISBNs, I just get the free ones when I go upload my book to KDP nowadays. And I hope I'm answering that question because I wasn't really sure. Maybe I should just shut up.
Yeah, he's just asking, is that a copyright? Do you buy an ISBN and stuff like that? But yeah, you're right. I don't buy ISBN numbers. Basically, what that does is it ties the name of your publisher in with your book, and Amazon offers them for free when you're putting it up through KDP Print. And so I just take the free one, and I don't really care if it says KDP Print as the publisher of my book, because most people don't buy books by publisher. They buy books by author. And so I don't spend the extra money. But if you wanted to create your own publishing company and you wanted that name to be on the back of your book, then you could go out and buy an ISBN number from, I don't know, Bowker or whoever sells them. They're kind of pricey, and it's cheaper to buy them in bulk. So if you're really going to make a go at it, then, you know, buy 100 of them, and then you'll have a bunch of them to use with all your books. But for me, I only spend money if it's going to make me money, and I don't think some made up publisher name on the back of my book is going to make me money. And so I don't do it. As far as copyright goes, you have to, that's a separate thing from ISBN. You have to file for a copyright, and that's just registering your copyright. In the United States, if you write something, it's already copyrighted under you, if you can prove you wrote it. And just registering for the copyright means that if someone steals your work, you can take them to court and you can get money from them. Because you've registered that copyright. I think it's $35, and I think you can do it online.
Yeah, I haven't ever done that. And has anyone else here?
Everybody go steal Judy's books. No, just kidding.
No, they're mine.
No, I don't register my copyright either, because if you write it, then it's copyrighted to you. And
yeah.
I was told, though, by some authors that when you hit a certain number in terms of income from Amazon, that kind of red flags you, and they can come to you and say, prove to us that you own the copyright to this, or prove to us that you're not a robot, or prove to us that you're not a crazy person. So at that point, you might get reached out to, but I think it's pretty easy for you to say, here's timestamps on my computer and files that I've created this. This is my book. So you can be made aware. So maybe if it's a preemptive thing, just every book you write, just go get the copyright. I think someone said it's like $50 or something a book. $35.
Yeah, something like that.
So if at some point you're expecting that you will make a lot of money, that might be an easier way because you can just show them the copyright and say, here, I prove it. That's mine. But I think starting out, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
You know, I see authors that have that problem with Amazon no matter what level they're on, though.
Yeah.
It just depends on if something flags the computer to make them ask the question, and you might get scrutinized a little more closely if they're sending you a big paycheck. But I mean, it's something that you can have to deal with at any level, really. So don't freak out, is what I'm saying. Because I haven't. Have you guys ever heard of anybody that Amazon like really argued with if they had legitimate?
Twice. They asked me twice for proof that I owned a copyright, and I just sent them a note saying I am the author and I do own this copyright, and they said that's good enough for us.
Okay then.
So
I was talking to somebody who had to show a little more proof than that, but I think once you can establish with them that you're good, then they probably will leave you alone. But I mean, it's kind of that double-edged sword. We want Amazon going after people like this.
Yeah.
We want them to go after the book stuffers and the fake things and however people are trying to scam them. We want that. So, but in order to do that, sometimes we have to say, okay, that at some point they will scrutinize me, possibly. So I need to make sure I have that. But I wouldn't let that stress you out. And I don't think an ISBN owning it changes that copyright. So ISBN is kind of just more, do you want your name on it or Amazon's name as the publisher? And like you said, I mean, the only way to find it is to scroll all the way to the bottom and read what it says and know what it means. And I honestly don't think readers care.
I think one other function of an ISBN is that it tracks sales for your book across all marketplaces. So if you sell your books in bookstores, however you do that, even if it's you like local stores, or if you're selling multiple online stores, it tracks sales across all of them because it's all connected to your publisher. Instead of like Amazon's ISBN is only connected to the sales on their store. So if you're going to be a wide author and if you're going to sell a lot of paperback, like maybe at fairs or in person or local stores, it might be a little bit more useful to you.
Yeah. But then also with the Amazon free ISBN, you can be open to selling in other stores. Because I know I had mine set, like originally it was able to go to like Barnes and Noble or whatever and be sold there. So it's not strictly Amazon necessarily. But any other questions?
yes, Jocelyn asks, I recently saw a clean romance series, 3 books, all released on the same day, and they seem to be doing very well. What is your opinion? Is that too risky?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't do it just because it's nice to have the rapid release. Like I can't write a book like every day, and so it's nice to kind of spread that out so they can continue to help each other over time instead of just all do a really amazing for 30 days and then they hit that thing and they kind of die.
Jocelyn needs to tell us the titles of the books so we can watch
I
them.
know. I was just going to ask her that.
Yeah, over time.
We
right?
love to stock authors.
Yeah, I did see an author do that. And the books did get pretty high, but they didn't stay super high for a really long time. But she did it when she was relaunching the books. They had already been published, but she got brand new covers and stuff.
I wonder if this is a relaunch too.
Maybe.
Of course,
think
you could be Nicholas Sparks and have, I've already been whining tonight, and have every edition of your book on its own separate thing so you take up multiple spots on the bestseller list. Thank you, Nicholas Sparks. No one else wants any spots in the top 5.
I can tell you my theories. And I think if you were to do like a trilogy that like, it really is dependent. Is it standalone or is it all the way through? I think it could work if you said, I'm going to write a trilogy and I'm going to release it all at once so people don't have to wait. They can just read right through. You could do that. But I think sometimes readers can be a little overwhelmed. And I always wanted to have my readers finish and leave them wanting more, and then make them wait just a little bit, and then give them another one. I like to think my readers need to kind of cleanse their palate, go read some other books, and then miss me. And I'm like, well, good, because I have another book out. Here you go. So to me, I would never release all 3 on one day. I would do it. And I'm even more of a believer of do one, wait 4 weeks, release another one, wait 4 weeks, release another one. Because then you get Amazons, because you're gonna the second one you release is gonna boost up your first one. The third one you release is gonna boost your first and second one up. I think it's kind of a gamble to put them all out at once, and that's a lot of work to kind of just throw up and hope something happens, because your readers are gonna have to read one book to get to the next one. So what's going to happen to your rank of your first, and then your second, and then your third, while people are still reading your first one? So I think
I will say this too, like, interesting enough, is I do know in fantasy and other genres, if there's a series where it's a continuing story, a lot of readers won't even buy the first one until they know that the whole series is out, because they've been burned too many times by authors not finishing their series. And I will say that with my Regency House Party series, with all 5 of our books up on pre-order, people bought the whole series at one time. Like, there were a lot of people who just went ahead and they just went, yeah, I want this, and they just bought all 5 books all at one time. And so everybody's books kind of went up. So, I mean, there are some possible benefits by it, and we'll just have to watch some of these books and see how long they can maintain their higher ranks or lower ranks. It's always so confusing. Let's start calling it better ranks.
It is confusing.
Yeah.
It's like, are aces high?
All right, we have one more question. Craig Hansen asks, can you explain smart URLs, how to use them, and why they are better for the beginner? Amy, you love smart URLs.
I love smart URLs because you can put them, basically what they are is like a placeholder for the actual URL. So what you do is you go to smart URL, and they're really self-explanatory. Once you get onto the site, you basically create like it goes smart URL / whatever you name it. So normally what I'll name it is like marrying a cowboy for BOB, back of book. So I know, okay, this is the link that goes in the back of all the books for that is going to promote marrying a cowboy next. So that's the book it's for. Then you scroll down, and then you put in the URL that actually exists for that book. But if you're going to launch a book that you don't have currently, I just send them to my author page on Amazon. So I'll just take my author link, stick it in that URL. It'll generate all these different links. So it'll be for like Canada and India and DE, whatever that's not Delaware. That's what is
Denmark,
DE?
Denmark.
Denmark, yeah. And UK, it'll create all of those. And then at the bottom, you can put in a description. So you can say, this is for marrying a cowboy for all the back of the books, blah, 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 blah. And then what I can do then is you hit create, and then that little smart URL, so whatever you created as a little tag so you know what it is, will now become that smart URL. Then you can take that smart URL and put it in like the back of your book. So you can say, hey, you want more romance? Grab my next book, Marrying a Cowboy, blah, blah, blah. And then you say, grab it here, and then you link the here. You can create that as a link so they can click on it. And then it will take them to that or it'll take them to that Amazon page. Then when your book is live, you just go back to that smart URL, change it to your actual Amazon page. And then when anybody clicks on that link at any time, they may have bought that book a month ago. If they go back in and they click on it, it will take them to that Amazon page. So you don't actually have to go back into, we all hate updating back matter, right? Because it's such a pain. So if you know the next couple of books you're going to write and you're already updating your back matter, just create a smart URL for it, and then you don't have to touch it. You just create it, make it live, bam, it goes out, and now it's going to be for that actual product on that product page. So that's what I love about smart URLs. And they're kind of confusing because it's kind of like, what are you doing? But I'm sure there's like a YouTube video you could watch that will walk you through more like screenshots. And it's really self-explanatory once you get to that page, and it's free. So that's what I love about it. It's pretty awesome. And then there was just, I don't know if you saw it, Victorine, but there was one more question about how do we find other indie authors in our genre? So do we have any tips or tricks about how to find other indies?
Well, for me, when I wanted to connect with other sweet romance authors, I just went in some big groups, like 20 books to 50K. And I asked, does anybody have any Facebook groups for clean romance writers? And I asked in several groups, and I did not get anybody who said, yes, this is a great group over here. And so I started my own, and I said, okay, I'm just going to start my own. I'll invite everybody who's a sweet, clean romance author to join in, and we'll promote each other. And so I would just go out and ask in some big groups where there's a lot of authors and say, does anybody know of a group like this? And if you get crickets, go start your own. And then you can advertise in some of these bigger groups and say, come join me. We want to cross promote, because that is really essential for indie authors to get the word out about their books.
Yep.
I think for me that if you want to go on Amazon, going down to the publisher. I mean, some people have created their publishing houses, but most people haven't. And so if it says Amazon, if it says published by Amazon Services Incorporated or something, chances are they're going to be an indie author, because most of the publishing companies that are trad pub want to say, yes, this is a HarperCollins book, or this is a Simon & Schuster book. They're not going to be stingy, even to the point where they put it up by the price. Also, this is not true, most indies are going to be in KU and not trad. So that's, if you find something in KU, it's most likely going to be an indie published book. So if you're looking on Amazon and are like, yeah, I'm okay, I'll reach out to people I don't know and totally stalk them, find their emails, and email them, that's what you can do too. So
I have seen some smaller presses that do not put their name on their, or the name of their imprint on. It's kind of surprised me sometimes. But I think a lot of traditional authors are really interested in networking too, if that's what we're still talking about. Right? Am I still on the same topic? Yeah. So like I know several that are getting that have traditional contracts, and they are just as interested in networking within the same genre as indies are, because they're starting to see that is where, their best shot at getting visibility and reaching out to people's fan bases is to work with people in their genre. So it's becoming more a little bit of like, hey, I see that you guys are totally rocking this thing, and I want some of that. So don't hesitate to email an author, even if you do see a big publisher name there or something, or when you don't recognize, especially.
Cool. Any more questions? Okay. So that is all we have for tonight. Our topic for next week is still to be decided. We are possibly going to have a guest with us. We're not quite sure yet. So, but we'll have something awesome. You can count on that. So until next week, we're glad that you stayed up late with us, and we will talk to you later.